Our next story is about a little old lady in Lebanon, Illinois. But you've got to figure there's more to it than that, and there is a lot more. There was a time when she was pretty well known in St. Louis, knew a lot of people, and knew a lot about them. Nobody told you you couldn't do it or shouldn't.
No.
Kay Morton is in her 90s now, at a point where she can look back and agree that, yes, she did some pretty interesting things in her life. When she starts telling stories and dropping names, you might wonder if she's not laying it on a little thick. But then she shows you the scrapbooks, the autographs, letters, photographs to back it all up.
Charlton Heston, of course, was a good friend of ours. Oh, my friend Paul Whiteman. He was a doll.
Billy DeWolf.
Oh, he was such a doll. He became good friends. Every time he came to St. Louis, I'd help him buy new hats for his act.
Kay Morton was in the perfect spot to meet the famous people of the 1940s. She had a radio show at a time when celebrities in Hollywood and New York did a lot more traveling and personal appearances. Roy Rogers.
Roy Rogers.
See,
he was so nice. He was so nice.
That's her with character actor Edward Everett Horton, whose career stretched from pre-World War I vaudeville to 1970s television.
Guess who that is?
I don't know.
John Wayne.
Oh.
Literally had to lead him across the stage. He was so drunk.
She met and worked with a lot of people, and some stories she still can't really tell.
But it could have, because he was a womanizer. Are we on?
Yeah, we are, actually.
Now, the celebrities kept coming when she did local TV in the early 1950s. That's when she met and interviewed Ronald Reagan.
Oh, such a gentleman. And
she never really planned all of this. It just sort of happened. In the 1930s, she was a journalism student at Washington University, a classmate once with Tennessee Williams, who was just Tom back then.
No, none of us did. None of us liked him. Yeah. He was sourpuss.
When she graduated, she went downtown hoping to find a job writing for the women's pages, food and fashion, that sort of thing. But it was the end of the Depression and the papers weren't hiring, so she went to the radio stations, finally getting her first job in 1939 at WTMV in East St. Louis. Her only pay? She was reimbursed for her bridge tolls. But she moved up to WIL Radio, and then she began hosting her own noontime show on KXOK aimed at housewives.
And my intent was not to do just fashion, food, blah, blah, blah. I kind of wanted to open the windows for women who were home all day long and give them an outlook on authors, literature, music, news, and just open our minds. Mine, too.
It wasn't all serious business. She had trained seals on one day, really, trained seals on the radio, promoting the old annual police circus. Of course, after Pearl Harbor, there were a lot more war and home front-related topics.
Oh, here's Tyrone Power, see?
Tyrone Power came by in uniform on a war bond drive. The exiled King of Norway was a guest. There weren't very many women hosting radio shows in those days, but there were a couple of others in St. Louis, and they were all on live, all pretty much going for the same guests at the same time.
Very competitive, very competitive. You worked hard to be sure to get a good guest. And in those
to get W.C. Handy on her show, she drove into the Mill Creek Valley and picked him up at a club. She'd be at the airport or the train station to pick up a guest and take them to their hotel and then to the radio station. She once met a guest at Lambert Field at 2 a.m.
Yeah, how my dear parents ever let me, because I was right fresh out of college. I was just 21, 22.
She was on the air every day for years, and yet among all her boxes of mementos, there's just one recording of one of her regular shows. So much of radio from those days was live, and then it was gone. So you come to Kay Morton's house for the stories, but for the actual sounds of 1940s radio, you have to go somewhere else.
Well, this is kind of interesting and goes kind of counter to what people are used to. Most people are used to playing a recording from the outside in. In this case, the recording plays correctly from the inside out.
This is Bob Dunham speaking to you now from the great veranda of General Headquarters, Jefferson Barracks, one of the oldest Army posts in the country.
I've already dubbed off half of the half-hour program, and we've got another
Clara
half.
Fuller is the media archivist at the Missouri Historical Society and oversees a substantial collection of old radio recordings.
This is an example of what a transcription disc looks like. It looks rather like a giant LP. What it really is lacquer on a glass or aluminum core.
Although almost all radio was done live, programs were sometimes recorded directly onto these discs by affiliated stations in different time zones for later rebroadcast. KMOX Radio recorded some of those network shows, and in 1953, somebody, the Historical Society records don't say who, donated this cabinet filled with hundreds of transcription discs. Right. So what does this one say, for example?
Well, this one seems to be Mayfair transcription. The Damon Runyon Theater Little Miss Marker is what's on this side, and this seems to be part 2 of the same title.
So that's probably a network. They have other disc collections as well, a long-running drama series from KSD Radio.
The land we live in.
And there are recordings from the old Premier studios, a lot of commercials often recorded so the sponsors could hear how they'd been done.
A new soap that I bought today taught me that with most soaps, children cannot get their hands clean.
And there are auditions for new radio shows.
Old Judge, America's Quality Coffee, presents the Charlie Atkinson Show. With the Old Judge.
The job now is to transfer what's on those old discs into a digitized computer file.
Danger of walking into lampposts or stumbling over the curb.
This includes one of the country's most complete collections of CBS News analysis from World War II. Edward R. Murrow, reporting from London.
Like a ghost town in Nevada. At dawn, that'll be about an hour from now, the mist goes floating upward from the water in Regent's Park.
I would say that 90%, maybe 95% of these discs haven't been heard in 60, 65 years. So it is very, very exciting to be able to sit down and listen to words that nobody's heard in all that time, and to give it a new life.
But reliving the old days of radio can't be nearly as exciting as having lived it the first time.
People say I'm a pioneer, so
Well, okay.
fine.
I'd accept that.
I will. I'm enjoying it.
Unless you've got a